Contrary to popular belief, you don't need debt to survive financially in America. And in this video, I'm going to give you a step-by-step process on how to be successful with money in America without debt. And by the end of the video, you will have no excuses as to why you are taking on debt if you want to level up financially. My name is Adrian. This is Always Talk Money. I like to talk personal finance, business, investing, and anything else that will help you level up in your financial life. If that sounds good to you, give a like for the YouTube algorithm, please and thank you. Subscribe to the channel. We make new videos like this every single week. With that being said, let's get into the video. Now, one of the biggest debt traps in America affecting millions and millions of people, especially my generation, millennials, and that is the student loan. But you can go to school for free. You can get a scholarship, you can get a grant. There's this good resource, this book called Debt Free Degree by Anthony O'Neill. He used to be on the Dave Ramsey show. I'll link the book in the description down below. But in there, he basically details how you can go to college for free, right? And there's ways to do this. There's many resources all across the internet. Not only that book, of grants, scholarships, and other eclectic ways that you can go to school for free. And then if you're really about it, you can pay your way through school. You can work while you go to school. And you might say, Adrian, it's so expensive. I can't pay that expensive ass tuition to go to this school. Well, yes and no. One, why do you have to go to an expensive school? Why do you have to go to an out-of-state school? Because you want to get away from your parents. Why do you have to live on campus? All these things are some of the major reasons why your college tuition is so expensive. Go to a state school, go to a community college. It's still the same education, right? So if you want to level up financially and not use debt to do that, if you want to get the best education and not use debt to do that, go to school for free. I promise you it can be done. But the next point I want to say is you don't have to go to college. You can skip college. I skipped college because I didn't want to sign up for student loans and my folks couldn't afford it. And I think I did pretty okay, right? Because there's so much information available to us nowadays. There's the internet, there's books, there's podcasts, right? There's so much free information, free educational information. Even if you want to work in marketing or software engineering, a lot of these places, especially like Google, if you go to some of the resource places on Google, you will get free Google certifications that you can take for free, right? So there's no excuse as to why you can't get free education, why you can't be successful if you skip college. There's been countless examples of people who never went to college that ended up turning out a-okay, especially if you know you want to be an entrepreneur. You don't have to go to business school for that stuff, right? There's certain tactics that they will teach you, but the best teacher is experience, in my opinion. Go out there, start that business, fail, but all the while you're failing, make sure you are learning. Now, the next thing that traps so many people in the debt trap, and you can avoid it, you don't have to do it, and that is the dreaded car loan. Car loans are up to $700 monthly payments right now. So $700 plus insurance, plus maintenance, plus expensive gas, you're talking about over $1,000 paying for car expenses. I don't know about you, but I think that's way too much. Buy a cheap car, buy a used car, save up and buy the car of your dreams. You can buy it cash. There's nothing illegal about buying a car cash. Avoid the dealerships. You can even buy a bicycle or a moped or walk or take public transportation, especially if you live in a city that allows that stuff with relative convenience, right? You don't have to get a car note. A lot of times people get these cars because they want to impress people, make a status symbol, or they're just too lazy to save up. Just be patient, right? Delayed gratification is one of the best tools that you can have in your emotional arsenal if you want to be successful, especially financially. So you can 100% avoid car loan debt if you want to get ahead in America, especially financially. It can be done. I've done it, and I think you can do it too. Now, the next way people get into debt, outside of student loans, outside of cars, they get into debt just because their living expenses are just too dang high. And how do you avoid that? Get roommates, live at home for longer. If you're a guy, you can afford to live in a worse neighborhood than a woman would, because obviously for safety reasons, women would want to naturally live in the safest neighborhood possible. But if I was a single guy and I needed to save money on rent, I would look for the best apartment in the worst neighborhood. Whatever it is to avoid keeping my living expenses from being too high, because you know what that will bring? That will bring debt. But again, a lot of young people, they want to live in a high-rise apartment so they can take photogenic Instagram photos to show off with their friends and family and tell people they're living big time. I don't know why you would do that, because all that is doing is putting you behind the eight ball financially. It's putting a strain on your budget. It's putting a strain on just your overall finances, trying to pay for this expensive place that you cannot afford. So get roommates, try not living in the most expensive neighborhood, and live at home for longer. I know you want to fight with your parents, but get over it, because saving money and staying out of debt is much more important. Guys, if this video is bringing you value so far, please leave a like for the YouTube algorithm, as well as subscribe. We make new videos like this every single week to help you level up financially. You know, as humans, we suck at avoiding temptation. And so if you want to stay out of credit card debt, one of the best pieces of advice I can give to you is just not applying in the first place, right? Whenever those introductory offers come into the mail in your house, rip that baby up and throw it in the trash. If you're keeping your living expenses low, if you don't have student loans, if you don't have a car note, then you have no reason to apply for a credit card. Now, I know people are going to say you need to improve your credit, improve your credit, improve your credit. Stay out of credit cards. Don't apply for them in the first place, because I promise you, you can get by without having a credit score. Now, I know a lot of people are going to disagree with me in the comments, but all I can say is I know people who have done it, but most importantly, I have done it, right? I don't have any credit cards, I don't have any car notes, and I don't live in an expensive place that I cannot afford. I would rather live at home than to go into debt trying to keep up a lifestyle that I cannot afford, because paying interest to these credit card companies, to these loan companies, is not a good thing to me. You know what type of interest I want? I want compound interest from my investments. And speaking of investments, you often hear me say the best defense is a greater offense, right? So you can play defensive by not getting a student loan, car loan, credit cards, and so on and so forth. But to be more offensive, get a job, get a good paying job, or just get any job. Always have money coming in, because a lot of people will do good, right? You'll be on the wagon, doing good, but one snafu in your life, like a job loss or an emergency, that happens, and now you start rolling into debt. So what you want to do is always, by any means possible, always have money coming in, whether that's a side hustle, whether that is a job, whether that is selling things online, whatever you have to do, always have money coming in, because that is going to help you to avoid the temptation of getting into debt. I haven't done any research or statistical analysis, but I can guarantee anything that a lot of people start their first debt accumulation journey when they get out of work, when they have some sort of emergency, and so on and so forth, right? It's not necessarily that they spend bad. It's not necessarily that their life is too expensive or they got a car loan. It's oftentimes when they have that income that they're counting on because they lifestyle inflated themselves. Once that income goes away, then everything is like a house of cards, just keeps falling down. So always having income coming in, no matter what, I always make sure I have income coming in. There's been 2 months in the past 10 years, and those 2 months were on purpose, but there's been 2 months in my life in the past 10, 11 years since I've been an adult working that I have not had an income coming in. I would think that is pretty good, right? So always have income coming in, and that will ensure that you will have a greater chance of not going into debt. And speaking of always having income coming in, we have to talk about something. Some of you guys out there, you're too bougie. You want to impress your friends, you want to impress your family, and you know what happens? You will not take certain jobs. And this is the last thing I want to leave you with. If you want to get ahead financially, you can't be so exclusive with your job choices. A lot of people I see walking around would rather be broke and jobless than take a job that they think is beneath them, right? And so when the marketplace decides that you are not employable in the jobs that you want, and the jobs that you don't want will give you a job, you're like, no, that's beneath me. I have the best education. I went to the best schools. I speak the best languages, and I can do double backflips sideways on 2 Sundays, right? Nobody cares about that. Be flexible in your skills, in the jobs that you are willing to do, and you will actually get ahead financially because, again, as I said in the last point, having money always coming in is a superpower, right? And that is something I pride myself on. I will do pretty much anything as long as I can get a return on investment in my time or my money, right? And maybe that's just my immigrant mindset. As you guys know, I was not born here, I was born in Jamaica. And so when you're an immigrant, you have the mindset of America is so great, America has so much opportunity. We want to do anything to make money because when you do the exchange rate from USD to Jamaican dollars, you see that you're making way more than the people back home were making. And so a lot of Americans I see, they're just not willing to do any job. Rather, they be unemployed, go into debt, and that is just a bad sign. So you have the full, complete blueprint on how to thrive in America without having debt. Whether you use it or not, that's up to you. I can't do it. My job here is complete. Leave a comment down below. Let me know if you disagree or agree. Give a like for the video. Subscribe to the channel. We make new videos like this every single week. My name is Adrian. This is my time. I hope you have a great, wonderful, debt-free day. Peace.